Hello, Swifty Sis. Today we're going to learn how to play The Life of a Showgirl featuring Sabrina Carpenter, exactly how Taylor would play it on guitar. But you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe, and you're never gonna wanna. She was a menace, baby of a family of Lennox. So this lesson is going to be based on how I imagine Taylor would play it if it was the acoustic set of the Eras Tour. So I'm going to be using chords that I know for sure she would use, strumming patterns, dynamics, all of that. So let's go ahead and get started. And of course, for this lesson, we have to use a showgirl guitar. This is the pink guitar from the Lover set of the Eras Tour, not the exact one. This is an Epiphone inspired by the Gibson that she played, TLDR. Gibson owns Epiphone, and they make this guitar that the public can purchase, so you can own a piece of unofficial Taylor Swift guitar merch. So if you would like to check it out, I will include a link down below. Also, if you would like to have access to my full playthrough of The Life of a Showgirl, along with my Showgirl era themed printable guide for this song, complete with the chord charts, the strumming patterns, and the full set of lyrics, you can access all of that at patreon.com/fearlessfam. Sign up to become a cruel strummer, and you'll have access to every single printable lesson and a full playthrough that I put out for all of my Taylor Swift lessons. We are doing the entire Life of a Showgirl album, and then after that, we're just gonna revisit old albums and eras and play through her entire discography together. So feel free to go check out Fearless Fam. It is the place to be if you are a guitar Swiftie. So to play The Life of a Showgirl exactly like Taylor, we have 10-ish chords, 10 to 11. It kind of depends on what chords you decide to play. I'm going to give you a couple different variations on some of these chord shapes, and we're also going to need a capo on the 5th fret, but we're not going to use it until the second half of the song because we have a key change. You could definitely play this entire song with the capo on the 5th fret, giving you all of the easy open chords that Taylor would play. I played it that way, and I don't like the way that it sounds in the first half of the song. I feel like this just like pitches it up way too high, as opposed to just playing it without a capo. You're going to run into some really tricky chords, but I feel like this gives you the best of both worlds, where the first half of the song sounds exactly with what you're hearing in the track, but you also get the easy Taylor Swift chords. And I think it's something really cool to practice with because this is a tool. I know a lot of people say that this is like a cheat or just doesn't make you a real guitarist, but this is a tool for a reason. This is for key changes. There are a lot of instances in songs where you can pull this tool out in the middle of a song and make space for boom. I've seen people do this before, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. So we're gonna do that, but I'm gonna teach you the chords without the capo first, and then we'll just go through each section of the song, and when it's time for the capo, we'll put it on. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with a G major. You could also do it like Taylor and play a G5 by just taking your first finger off, laying your second finger down where it mutes that 5th string, like that, and then you strum down from the 6th. Our second chord is an A minor 7. So basically just without this 3rd finger here, strum down from the 5th. Our 3rd chord is an F over C. So from here, just take your 3rd finger, make a C shape, and then put your pinky finger on the 4th string right under that. You're going to use your thumb to mute the 6th string. So just roll it over and just like gently lay it down on there. Then you're going to strum down from the 5th. And this is how Taylor usually plays her F chords. She never bars them, so a nice pretty F over C, and it fits perfectly with The Life of a Showgirl. Then we're gonna move on, and we are going to have a D major. And then we'll have an E minor 7. You're welcome to do a regular E minor if you would like, but I feel like E minor 7 just fits this song so well, and I know this is exactly what Taylor would be playing. And then we're gonna have a C major. I'm gonna give you the option here. I feel like both C major and C sus2 are really going to make sense for this. So something that Taylor prioritizes a lot in her guitar playing is the ease of her chord transitions. So I feel like in certain places, a C major is gonna make way more sense, because just with what chords it sits next to and it's transitioning from and to. So I would definitely recommend doing both of those because I could see her doing that. She sometimes does that where like instead of playing one version of a chord, she'll play two versions just because sometimes in a different part of the song, it sits next to a different chord. She's like, like this chord will transition easier to this chord. So another alternative for C major is to play a C sus2. So with that G5 that I showed you, basically it's the same shape. You just move this finger down one string and you lay it down now over the fourth string. So it mutes it. You strum down from the fifth. It's so sparkly and so pretty. Now this last set of chords is going to be very interesting. We are going to have a D7, which basically is a mirrored version of a D major. So if you take the shape and you mirror it, it's gonna look like this, and you're gonna strum down from the fourth. And then we're also going to have a G minor, which I'll give you two options to do this. You could either do the barred version, which I don't see Taylor doing, but basically it is on the 3rd fret and it looks and sounds like this. Now, if you are not ready at all for G minor, but if you want to play it, I do have a chord tutorial that I will link here or down below. And I also do have a course on bar chords, so feel free to check that out as well. It's called Bar Chord Breakthrough, but I'm gonna give you an open version on how to play this. It doesn't sound as full, but I think it works really, really well with this song. Sometimes when you play this version, it sounds a little, it doesn't have like the bassiness a lot of times that you might need for certain chords and certain songs, but you're gonna play the bottom 3 strings and you have the choice between barring them like this with your first finger. And if you're just like, no, I don't wanna do any bars, I got you. Just make it like an A major shape. You know how you make it like this with your last 3 fingers? Well, you can just use that shape down here on these bottom 3 strings and you just strum down from the 3rd string. And that will give you the perfect G minor to fit with the Life of a Showgirl. Now, our last chord is actually an A major, which I think is perfect because then you can just transition right over to an A major. Boom. All right, moving on into strumming, we have 2 patterns, and we are gonna start with the first one, which occurs really through the majority of the song, and it's exactly what you were hearing in the track. And I feel like Taylor would also follow suit with that. So it's gonna be down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. So for example, with G5, we have our second pattern takes place during the bridge, and it's going to be down, down, up, down, up for each chord. Now I will say once we get to the bridge, it's gonna be its own thing entirely. It's chaotic, it's giving theater kid. So we're gonna have that pattern, but there's also going to be a lot of staccato down strums where they're like that. And you just strum down and you immediately come back and you mute the chord. But we'll get to that part once we cross that bridge. So usually I organize my tutorials by the different progressions, but since this song has just so much going on, we're just gonna go through each section of the song, starting with the intro. So we're gonna have 2 measures of G5, A minor 7 to F over C. We're gonna go around back again to G5, E minor 7, F over C, and then C. And this is where I recommend actually playing a C major as opposed to a C sus2, which Taylor plays a lot of the time in place of a C major, but the transition from F over C to C major just makes the most sense. So I see Taylor doing that. So with the first strumming pattern that I gave you, it's gonna sound like this. So now let's move on to the verse and pre-chorus sections. So we are going to basically take the first half of that intro progression and we're gonna use it for our verse pre-choruses. So we're gonna have the 2 measures of G5 to A minor 7 to F over C. And you're going to play this 6 times. And then our last chord, and she said to me, is gonna be a D major. And then that will lead us into our first chorus. Her name is Kitty, made of money being pretty and ready. Gave her the keys to this city. Then they said she didn't do it legitly. I bought a ticket. She's dancing in her garters and fishnets. 50 in the cab, 0 missteps. Looking back, I guess it was kismet. I'm waiting by the stage, or packed in with the autograph albums, barking her name, blowing like the end of a cigarette while she came out. I said, you live in my dreams. Then she said to me, hey. Now moving into the chorus, we are going to basically just copy what we did in the intro. So we have our 2 measures of G5, A minor 7 to F over C, back to G5, E minor 7, F over C, C major. And she said to me, hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you never ever go away. The more you play, the more that you pay. You're softer than a kitten, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you're never gonna wanna. She was a menace, the baby of a family of Lennox. Her father hoarded around like... Okay, so this is the exciting part where we take our capo, we place it on the 5th fret during this transition from the end of that first chorus into the second verse. So the beauty of this is that we don't have to yet change the chords that we're playing because we did the key change with the capo. Now, that will change once we get to the second chorus, but for right now, we can just still play the progression of 2 measures of G5 followed by A minor 7 and F over C. Now there is one main difference with the second verse and pre-chorus, and that would be the 2 instances where we don't play a chord and we just mute our strings just like this, and we just strum through. So you just use that main strumming pattern, and I'll show you where those are. You don't know the life of a showgirl, babe, and you'll never ever wanna. She was a menace, the baby of a family of Lennox. Her father hoarded around like old men did. Her mother took pills and played tennis. So she waited by the stage door as the club promoter arrived. She said, I'd sell my soul to have a taste of the beneficent life. It's all mine, but that's not what showgirls get. Leave us for dead. Hey. So now we are moving into our second chorus, which is going to reflect the key change with some different chord progressions here. So we're going to start off with 2 measures of D major to E minor 7. And then from here, we're going to do a C sus2 instead of a C major because the transition from E minor 7 to C sus2 is so easy. And it also just sounds sparkling for that chorus. And then we're going to go back around. This is like the second part of the chorus here. So we have a measure of D major, then we have E minor 7, C sus2, and G5. Now notice how almost all of those chords have the similarity of the ring and pinky finger down here, makes the transitions so simple. And those 2 lines of progressions alternate. So your 2 measures of D to E minor 7, C sus2 alternates with the D, E minor 7, C sus2, G5. So basically you're gonna play each of those lines alternating twice. And a little helpful note here is that this chorus is exactly the same as the final chorus. The only thing is the final chorus is just a little bit longer because it just fades out and it takes a long time to do so. So all you do is take these 2 lines of progression and you just keep alternating them until the song ends. Leave us for dead. Hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. Sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you'll never ever go away. The more you play, the more that you pay. You're softer than a kitten, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you'll have finally arrived to the bridge of this song, and this is where things get so much more fun. This is definitely going on my list of my favorite Taylor bridges. It is absolutely iconic. It is chaotic. I love the melody, the energy, the lyrics, everything. So what we're gonna do is we are going to have two different sets of strumming here. And we're gonna start with that staccato down strum where you come back and mute it. So our progression is going to start with D major. Then we're gonna have D7. Remember, it's basically a D major mirrored. Then we have G5. And then from here, we're gonna play a G minor 6. I feel like this sounds so good with what you're hearing. And it's also going to be a very easy transition because you just bump these two fingers up one string each and you just go. And then from here, we're just going to repeat that again. And then from here, we're gonna play this progression 2 more times, but we're gonna add in our strumming pattern of down, 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 up for each chord. It's gonna be a lot faster than that, something like, and all the headshots on the walls of the dance hall, dirty bitches who wish I'd hurry up and die, but I'm okay, on Immortal, we're gonna have a G minor, just a regular G minor, and you have the choice, the option of either doing the barred G minor, Immortal now, it sounds great, or if you don't wanna bar at all, make the A major shape, but down here on the first 3 strings, and you're gonna strum only those 3 strings. So use your thumb, curl it over to mute 6, 5, and 4, and then you just strum down, I'm immortal now. So you can hear it's lacking the bass of the barred version for sure. So it really depends on first what you feel confident doing right now and if it's important for you to have that bass. Like I said, I have resources down below if you need help with the barred shape. I think this honestly sounds good enough for the song. I think it fits really well and I could see Taylor playing it exactly that way. So from here we have I'm immortal now, baby doll's eye, A major, couldn't if I tried, which is a perfect transition, by the way. And then we go, and I say, thank you for the lovely bouquet. Make sure you come back hard on that E minor 7. You want to just strum light on the D. Thank you for the lovely bouquet. I'm married to the hustle and now I know the life of a showgirl, babe. And that, baby dolls, is how to play the Life of a Showgirl, exactly how Taylor would play it on guitar. If you would like to have access to my full playthrough of this song, as well as my printable guide with the chord charts, the strumming patterns, and the full set of lyrics, all of that is available to you at patreon.com/fearlessfam. Sign up to become a cruel strummer, and you will have access to all of my printable lessons and full playthroughs of every single Taylor Swift lesson that I put out. I'm going to be doing the entire Life of a Showgirl album, and then we will go back to old albums and eras. So feel free to go check that out, and I will catch you in our next Showgirl guitar lesson.